I'm here to tell you that the current pro-life strategy to end abortion is not working. And I'm going to tell you what we need to do instead. Hi, I'm Bradley Pierce, attorney and executive director of the Foundation to Abolish Abortion. In the U.S., we hear a lot about Roe v. Wade, the 1973 Supreme Court decision that claimed to establish a right to abortion in America. Those of us against abortion have been trying to get the Supreme Court to overturn this evil decision for the last 5 decades. And how have we gone about doing that? Well, from the beginning, the primary pro-life strategy has been straightforward. Change the court. To do that, you first elect Republican presidents, then when they take office, you wait for a vacancy, then you appoint pro-life justices, and once there's a majority of pro-life justices, you overturn Roe v. Wade. Simple as that. But how has this plan worked? The answer should be obvious. It hasn't. Roe has not been overturned, and more than 2,300 preborn children are killed in this country every single day. Despite 5 decades of failure, changing the court is still the carrot on a stick that Republican candidates use to get votes and rake in political donations. Every presidential election, pro-life voters are told, if we could just get a Republican-appointed majority on the Supreme Court, Roe v. Wade would be overturned. But making this our primary strategy has been a failure from the beginning. In fact, the Supreme Court, which decided Roe v. Wade in 1973, was made up mostly of justices appointed by Republican presidents. That's right, you heard that correctly. Roe v. Wade was issued by a court with a majority of Republican-appointed justices. Then in 1992, the Supreme Court upheld Roe by reaffirming a right to abortion in the Planned Parenthood v. Casey decision. But that court was made up of Democrat-appointed justices, right? Wrong. In fact, of the 9 justices on the court in 1992, 8 of them had been appointed by Republican presidents. And amazingly, the only Democrat appointee on the court was pro-life and had voted against Roe v. Wade. Not only that, since 1973, the court has never had a Democrat-appointed majority. Of the 15 justices appointed since Roe, Republican presidents appointed 11 of them. Do you find that shocking? Roe was established and has been kept in place by a Supreme Court which has been overwhelmingly dominated by justices appointed by Republican presidents. To put it bluntly, ending abortion through changing the court has been a false hope since the very beginning. Even today, the makeup of the court is yet again exactly what the pro-life industry has been telling us would be needed to overturn Roe, but still nothing. Today, there is only one sitting justice who has ever publicly indicated he would vote to overturn Roe v. Wade, Justice Clarence Thomas. And every time Justice Thomas publicly asks his fellow justices to agree with him on that, all we hear is silence. So what should we be doing? First, understand that Roe v. Wade is not the law of the land. Have you ever seen anything about a right to abortion in the Constitution? Of course not. Even the Supreme Court has admitted that it's not in the text, but claims it is in a right to privacy, which is in the penumbra of the Constitution. What is that? Well, when you shine a light on an object, the shadow behind it is called an umbra, and the fuzzy shadow outside of that is called a penumbra. Of course, that's just a really twisted way of saying it's not in there. In fact, the Constitution says the opposite and defends all human life, preborn or otherwise, in the 14th Amendment by saying that no state shall deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. If you really want to follow the Constitution, you also must follow the Supremacy Clause. The Supremacy Clause says that this Constitution and the laws made in pursuance thereof shall be the supreme law of the land. So anything the Supreme Court says is only binding on the states if it's consistent with the Constitution. That's why our officials swear an oath to a Constitution and not to a president or to a court. So the states have a duty to ignore unconstitutional federal edicts like Roe v. Wade. So what do you want to do? Do you want to stick with the existing pro-life strategy, waiting till we get a Republican president? Waiting for a justice to die or retire? Waiting to win the court with another Republican nominee, even though that's been a failing strategy for nearly 50 years? Are you really ready to wait another 50 years while thousands more die every day? I'm not. If we want the Supreme Court to start treating Roe v. Wade as unconstitutional, then we must do so. Roe v. Wade is not the law of the land. We need to say that. But much more importantly, we need to start acting like it. We need to follow what the Supremacy Clause of the Constitution says and call on our politicians to pass legislation to end abortion without compromise and without waiting for the Supreme Court. The time for us to abolish abortion is right now. It's time to ignore Roe.